Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Flaherty, still here, and I'm going to pick up where I left off reading the poem that we are analyzing for structure. The poem reads, "A summer river being crossed, how pleasing with sandals on my feet." So you will answer how many lines are in this poem, how many syllables are in each line, and what is the topic of the poem. If you're struggling with this, go back to the video, and that should help you answer these questions. Then we're going to analyze for parts of speech, which, if you recall, the parts of speech are nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. So the poem reads, "Temple bells die out, the fragrant blossoms remain, a perfect evening." So you're going to say what are the nouns in this poem, what are the verbs in this poem, what adjectives are in this poem, and what senses are evoked in this poem. And for this last question, you're thinking about, is this poem talking about sights, sounds, smells, touches, or tastes? Okay? When you read this, which two are evoked? Evoked means comes to mind. Now, before you do the last analysis, you're going to review the literary devices that we learned last semester. The ones you need to know are simile, metaphor, personification, alliteration, repetition, and hyperbole. So please read the definitions and examples. And when you're writing the poetry, I'd like you to think about using personification, because I think it's a really cool literary device where you describe non-human things using human qualities. So you see the example, the leaves dance in the wind. Generally, we don't think of leaves dancing or flowers dancing. We think of people dancing, hence the word personification, person. We're making inanimate objects do things that people do. Okay, so that would be something really cool if you could have that in one of your poems. So looking at these questions, we are analyzing the poem "Mountain Rose Petals, Falling, Falling, Falling Now, Waterfall Music." So in this space, you're going to say what two literary devices are present in this poem. You can obviously go back to 11 and look. What do you visualize when reading this? And is waterfall music a literal or figurative phrase? So when we talk about literal and figurative, the difference is that figurative language uses the literary devices, similes, metaphors, hyperbole, and personification to describe something, often through comparison with something different. Literal, it means exactly what it says. So looking at an example, if you're using literal language, you could say he ran fast. But if you're using figurative language, you'd say he ran like the wind. So instead of just stating the obvious thing, you're making a comparison. And so instead of just saying someone ran fast, a simple adjective, you're comparing how someone ran to the wind. This is a metaphor. This is figurative language. Okay, then you can take a brain break if you like, but if you want to keep going, because you're at home so you can work at your own pace, going forward, we're going to look at the masters of haiku, Matsuo Basho, Yosa Busan, and Kobayashi Isa. In the video that follows, I want you to think about these questions, which you're going to answer here. According to Basho, what two effects should writing poetry guides us towards? So when you get to the point of the video where it talks about two effects that the medium of poetry can produce, that's where you'll find your answer. The next two questions, the Japanese terms wabi and sabi and muga, you can stop the video and get those definitions right there and put them in here, okay? So then this is where you'll find the video. If you have trouble, go to YouTube or contact your teacher, send us an email, but it should work fine. And then when you finish the video, now it's time to write your own haiku. So the haikus can be about anything that comes to mind. Ideally, there'd be one with nature or about self-reflection, since that's what we've been talking about this week. They should be in the 5-7-5 syllabic pattern that we've already learned about in the video before and that we use for poetry. Let me get this right. There it is, 5-7-5. And then you're going to go to Canvas and you'll force a copy of the Create Who Am I One with Nature Google Doc. While there, you can open the haiku poems Basho, Busan, and Isa to give you motivation and look at the structure. And then you can use the slides on slides 20 and 21, and there's a lot of descriptive words here. These are the ones we used in Wednesday's art lesson, and maybe you want to use them in your poem. They have lots of syllables, and then some good adjectives here and descriptive words. So you're going to create as many haikus as you want, and then on Friday you'll be